I'm Sarah Brown, and this is The Mothers, real conversations with leaders, creators, and thinkers about who we are, what we want, and how we build meaningful lives alongside motherhood.
Let's do it. Welcome to a live podcast recording, which happens to be my very first podcast recording. I think it's also V's very first podcast recording.
Say
yes. So we're really jazzed to be here. I am Sarah Brown. I'm the co-host of The Mothers, alongside the co-host. Thank you. With V, the co-host with the most, of course. So excited that you're all here. You all being here really makes this thing real. And I like to think of that as some sort of alchemy. This was just an idea like a year ago. And the fact that any of you are here makes that idea real out in the universe. So thank you for being here, whether you crossed an ocean or crossed a street. Really, really appreciate it. So thank you. Okay, so we're here for many, many reasons, but it's sort of poetic in that a year ago I had left Google after 12 years and having 3 kids there, and I was in this like weird state of in-betweenness and trying to be reflective and calm and not do anything too difficult. But of course I found myself on the Sister Ship porch typing out the idea of this, because in that in-between, when I was suddenly not working for the first time with kids, I noticed a few things beyond the fact that I can't be still. One being that mothers do a shit ton. We're extraordinary. But mothers who work do that on top of their jobs, which is honestly something I didn't realize what I was doing until I found myself no longer employed, but quite busy with my children. Then the other piece was that despite typically doing it all at home and doing it all at work, rarely do you see a mother in a position of leadership being both and doing both at once, and certainly rarely from a position of strength. Those conversations are usually reserved for like employee research groups and quiet conversations over drinks. And then the other piece was that mothers are fully integrated, complicated, wonderful people. We are not just mothers to our kids. We are not just employees at a job. We have our own identities and our own needs and our own sense of purpose and ambition. And what I noticed was that in the media, you're forked. So you're the parent to your kids, or you are somehow the C-suite executive who's like doesn't ever see their children. Rarely do we get to actually talk to and explore questions around identity and purpose and ambition at all. So what V and I are on a mission to do with the mothers is to really shine a light on that concept. So these women that are out there making a dent in the universe, as we like to say, and shocking, raising kids. Which is why we're here with these wonderful mothers of Nantucket, behind some of Nantucket's most iconic brands. There are many of them, but we are lucky today to be joined by Bess Clarke, CEO of Nantucket Looms and mother of 3, Elin Hilderbrand, New York Times bestseller and producer, and Elin is raising, no big deal, 4 children. Wendy Rouillard, owner of Barnaby's, creator of the children's book series by similar name, and is a mother of 2, and often a mother of many children that go into her store. I think she's the mother to my children like at least 1 hour a day. So with that, I wanted to get into this conversation that I'm hoping you're all lovely. This is like about us. But to really get into it in the beginning, trying to set the stage, and Bess, I might put you up first and we'll go down and we can build and make this a convo. But if you could give us a sense of what your professional life was like as each of your children kind of came on the scene, and how that impacted your sense of how you could possibly continue to do both.
Well, I found out I was pregnant with my first child, Luke. I went to my annual physical and they said, surprise. And my first question was, well, when am I due? I was going to dedicate my whole summer to this Athenian project, and he was due May 22nd. And I was like, oh no. And so, I had to kind of pivot in thinking, what is this going to look like? Now I had 2 projects, one of which was raising a small child. But we adapted. We hired a wonderful kind of totally crazy old lady to take care of him. And at one stage, she turned to me and told me that she thought he looked like Matthew Broderick.
Oh my goodness.
And I was like, oh, okay, all right, well, great, as long as he's safe and healthy and happy, fine. But that was a crazy summer with him, just trying to get through that, and just. But he was a really good baby. And then Jake, again, Jake is now 16, and I had help with him, hired a wonderful Bulgarian woman to help me, and then Owen, again, another Bulgarian woman who helped me. So it takes a village. It takes a lot of people to help raise a family, and I was lucky to have the help of these women and my own mom and my sister. So you just go with it. You got to do what you got to do, and I wanted both. I wanted a career, and I knew I always wanted to be a mother. So,
and you were CEO of Nantucket Looms at that time, or where were we?
I became CEO 11 years ago. So I was with the Athenaeum for 10 years.
Great.
And then had Owen when I was at the Loom. So, and that was, there were 6 years between Jake and Owen. So he wasn't a surprise, because I like to plan absolutely every minute of my life. So, but, having him 6 years later was, it was a new experience, because I was 37 at the time. So having, being an older, they call you an older mother when you're
Geriatric pregnancy, huh?
We're all so young.
You hate to see it.
Yeah. But, so I was at the Looms when I had Owen.
Yeah. Was it different when you were kind of working for yourself?
I felt more guilty about it, because it was my own business, and I almost felt like I felt like I had to, like, in my own mind, ask permission to, I was trying to lead by example, so I felt like I had to show up more. I think if you work for someone else, you can just, you're out of office for your maternity leave, but when you're the boss, you feel like you have a little more responsibility.
Yeah.
So that was a little, guilt, I think, is probably a common theme with most of, well, I speak for myself, but
I'm trying to reposition it as not being guilt. It's like, I want to be in two places at once, and I can't, and that's sad. I'm not doing anything wrong.
Anyways, bye.
I'm sorry. But yes, great. Ellen, speaking of working for yourself, building your own thing, walk us through what you were doing work-wise as each kid came along.
So my oldest son is Max. He's 25. I was pregnant with Max when I got my first book deal. My first book deal, famously, was they offered me $5,000. And
get it?
This is very little money, you guys. Very little money. I could not. I was working part-time as a paralegal. I could not quit my job. But the amazing thing is the way that as Max grew, my career has grown. So, and then I had more children. And all I can say is that when I think about back when they were young, the memory that comes to me is when I had just had the first two, Max and Dawson, there were afternoons. So Max would take an afternoon nap and Dawson was a baby. So Max would have been 3 and Dawson would have been 1, and I had a book due. And I would nurse Dawson until he fell asleep, and then I would put Max in the bed also, and then I would flip over onto my other side, and I write all my novels longhand, and this is one of the reasons. And I would write the novel longhand in bed with them in those afternoons when they were both napping. I had no other time to myself.
Yeah.
So
Incredible.
they were definitely like an integral part of it. And then once Shelby was born, I did get living. I got an au pair. We had au pairs there for a while.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It is interesting. In a lot of the interviews that we've done, often there is the birthing of a business and the birthing of a baby seem to happen at the same time. And it's interesting. I don't know if you have thoughts about why that might be true. But I have noticed that, because otherwise there is some messaging of like, you have a baby, your career's over. But in fact, that's when you kind of start you find a new gear.
yeah, I mean, I definitely think that my creativity, when you're producing humans, you have a lot of energy, and I think I had a lot
Tell
of
me that.
I had a lot of creative energy because I was a mom, and everything about the kids growing up has contributed to my novels. Like every single thing about them has basically ended up in one book or another as they're becoming aware of as they read them.
Mom!
But yeah. But also, it's just the way life is, and I think for men, it's the same. Like they are having children during the time when they're building their careers as well.
Yeah.
It's a little bit trickier for moms, and we can dig in there later.
Yeah. So Wendy, writing children's books, starting stores. Tell us, set the stage for us.
Well, Barnaby, as probably most people know, was my senior thesis in college. So I had a good 10 years of doing it before having kids. So I just remember being up in Boston and having Anasi, who's here today, but like quickly trying to finish my book before I gave birth to Anasi, which was Barnaby's Treehouse. And I kind of feel like that was, until opening the store, probably the last time that I worked, that hard on a book all day long, because once I had the girls, I really tried to work while they napped. I was lucky enough to be home. And so, when they napped, I'd get up early, I'd, put them to sleep and work. But the one thing that it really taught me at that time, because I really did slow down for a couple of years, was just be really thoughtful with my time. So like one of my favorite books was Where is Barnaby Bear? And I did that only while Anasi napped. And so if I had an hour, that's what I was doing. But I was really productive in that hour. And so it kind of taught me not only like time management, like even if you only have an hour or two a day, just focus. And, I stopped meeting people for lunch. We don't meet people for lunch.
We do not go out to lunch.
Just became very productive with my time. And of course, at that point, I kind of switched from doing picture books to board books because I was kind of following along with their growth. And then having obviously been out here for all these years, we never had a place for kids to come and just create. Even if it's just an hour to come, drop in and create. And, that was the inspiration. Obviously, I had Wendy Hudson, who's here, was kind enough to give me a space in Bookworks, which just kind of launched my own store. So I kind of feel like I've grown with them. And thank goodness I didn't open the store when they were young.
I am curious, as you're describing kind of finagling all of this, which is truly impressive. And I think mothers will just be like, we just found a way. I just like casually wrote a novel while my children were napping longhand. Not a big deal. So let's take a moment and acknowledge that that's actually very difficult to do. I was curious if there were examples of like when the idea of having children sort of came to you and you sort of imagined maybe this would be true, and then the reality hits. Did you have examples in your mind of how the role modeling of how to be a mother and have a career at the same time? Like, did you have a sense of what this was going to look like? I know, Bess, you had, in some ways, a very obvious role model in their business, but I was curious if you knew what this was supposed to look like or could look like and how you wanted to approach it and like sort of where that example came from. Feel free, Bess. I don't know. Your mother, your story is sort of built for this.
My mom, Liz, worked at the Looms for 40 years, and, she incredibly dedicated to the business, and that, she showed up every day at 9 and left at 5, and, was not really able to participate in, going to any of my, soccer games or, she worked for 2 gay men who just didn't have families of their own and weren't as flexible. So she just never got time off to really participate in my life. And so from that, she was a great role model in her work ethic, but I knew when I became the owner of the business, I wanted to make sure that I gave flexibility to everyone in my staff to come and go as they need, within reason, but, to go to the games, to leave work early, to, not feel badly for calling in sick. And that, that was really, and I'm grateful for my mom being an incredible role model so that I could kind of set my own, change the rules a little bit.
Yeah.
That's a common theme I feel like we've had where it's like people have said not a direct like I want to be just like you, but in the ways and the things that you wish you had or yearned for, being able to fill in and step in those ways with your own kid.
Wendy or Ellen, did you have an example that you were following or trying not to follow?
I mean, my mom was a single working mom. She had 3 kids, and there were a lot of dropped balls, and being the oldest daughter, of course, was watching very closely. And she did a great job. But I was like, okay, first of all, there was never doubt in my mind that I was going to work while I had my children, because that example was set for me. But there were a lot of drop balls. And I want to say this right at the start, and we all know this. Parenting is a huge spectrum of things that we're expected to do, right? And we cannot do them all well. Yeah. We just can't. And so I chose things that I could do with my kids. Like, I always read to them at night. I mean, the structure of the story time, and like we'd pick a theme every night for the children. We had so many children's books. So reading to them was very important to me. And then I cook. So like cooking for them and packing their lunches. I still do it to this day. I pack their lunches. And so there were things that I excelled at, and then there were other things that I was absolutely terrible at. And I have always had a clear perspective that you cannot do everything well. And there is no such thing as a perfect mother. It just does not exist. And so I think I chose things that were a little bit different to focus on from my mom. But she definitely set an example of a working mom making it work.
For sure. Yes, impressive too. Wendy, do you have parents that you're grappling with? Or many of our guests also take a lot of things from the father, in fact, or peers in different ways. So I'm just curious if there's any.
Yeah,
idea.
my mother was a librarian, and she worked, and her parents only believed that women should have go to college for 2 years, a 2-year degree. So most of my young childhood, I watched her finish her college, her undergraduate, and go to graduate school. So I always kind of saw her working on something. She's always worked. My parents moved out here to retire, and they're both in education. They both ended up working at the new school and going back to the high school and working just to volunteer. And my mom helped in the library. So I've always had that sort of role model. And I really did kind of make a point, and I think it definitely affected my career. I really did not work unless the girls were in school, or napping, like I said, when they were babies. But I stopped the minute they got out of school. And I'm grateful for that now, because I feel like I didn't miss out on their childhood. Now, if you ask them now, the last 5 years, they'll be like, Mom's never around. So I kind of like dropped the ball since opening the store, because it's been so much.
Yes. Convenient you said that once. Your daughter's no longer here, I think. Now you
she's
make
like,
that comment. Yes.
But I'm happy that I was there. Nantucket is the best place, I think, to raise kids, because you are dropping them at school in 8 minutes. And you're back working, and you can go in your PJs, no one cares. So I would literally get up, get them fed, get them to school, and I was back by 8:10. So it's really a great, wonderful place to raise kids. For working moms.
So interesting. I like that. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say the pickup is tricky, though.
Yeah, pickup's a little bit harder.
Pickup, and I'm like, I still got 3 hours left. So
right.
You really rely on other people to.
And it is a community where someone will pick up, or they can walk home because it's that safe.
Well, someone needs to fix the school systems in general. The whole system is not designed for dual working parents at all. That was another thing when I was, we are lucky enough to have a nanny who's here, thankfully. She's amazing, Callie. And often she handles pickup. And then I was helping out with pickup more. And and drop-offs and all these things. And it's typically all these mothers. Many of them are also working. And it's just... that's one of the things where this came from. I was looking around, I was like, no one gives a shit about these, why we're all carrying this whole society and no one seems to care. And in some ways we don't really give ourselves enough credit that we're doing all of this together. But as you were all talking, I was curious, we do explore the idea of identity, and then as children come on the scene, especially if you're determined to be working and have jobs that are fulfilling, I'm curious how much having kids impacted kind of how you saw yourself or how you thought of yourself. Was it a shift, and a surprising shift, towards being a mother and thinking of yourself as a mother? I think some of us lead with, when you're being introduced or introducing yourself, I'm a mother first, and I also am all these other things. I am curious, how you think of mother as an identity, and how that's shifted kind of over time. if you want to start, or if I can go, I can
No
keep going to
pressure.
Bess.
That's our girl.
Yeah. I love to caregive. Like that's kind. I love, not just my kids, but my friends, and I like, in my employees. Like it comes naturally, but I think, I do like looking after people and making them feel loved and cared for. So I think when I became a mom, it was just, it was kind of what I was doing already in a lot of ways. And I don't really, they're equal parts to me in terms of my kids. I don't, I feel like I'm a friend, I'm an employer, I'm a daughter, and I'm a mom, but it's not, I guess I don't really lead with that.
Yeah.
All the people in my life are important to me.
Yeah, yeah. Ellen, in certain spaces, I see you very much lead with your motherhood and being a mother.
Yeah. The kids are so old that I've gone through so many phases of motherhood. So when they were little, I mean, you guys some of you already know this. When they're little, like you just feel like you're never going to get out of it. They're going to be little forever. And it's so time consuming just physically on you. And I can definitely remember when Shelby was born thinking, okay, now I have a 6-year-old, a 3.5-year-old, and a baby. I'm never going to have my own life. And I was writing, and then at some point when my career started to take off, there were, the kids were a little bit older, and there was but then I was traveling. So one of the things that I have to do, and everybody knows this, the worst thing about being a working mother is travel for work. It is the worst. I was doing 40 events a year.
Oh, wow.
I was gone so much. I mean, I would cry at the airport. I could not stand being away from them. And it was so hard. And then, shift, and we've got 2 in college, 1 in boarding school. I have a little bit more freedom. And the most amazing thing has happened in the past, 3 years, which is they're all back home. Okay? They're all back home.
With all their friends.
And I feel like whatever animal it is where the children are on your back and you're trying to walk, because they all need something on a daily basis, and they're old people. I've got 25, and I picked up a child along the way because my son's best friend has lived with us since 2017. So I've got 2 25-year-olds and a 23-year-old, and they all live with me, and it's like they all need something and all the time. And so I feel, but at this point, and I retired last year, so at this point, parenting, being their mom, is my number one job. And it's such a joy because they're sentient beings, and we can have conversations and talk, and they're a lot of fun, those kids.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, I feel like I have 500 kids. So
You do. Thank you.
which I love.
Including
No, I mean, I think I've always just sort of thought, I mean, obviously the minute I had the girls, they took priority. Barnaby kind of took the back seat, but it's like, I could think of it as a kind of one of my children, Barnaby. So I sort of feel the same way as Bess. It's, I'm a mom, a friend, and they're kind of all, but of course, the girls have always obviously taken top priority.
Yeah. I am curious. All of you in different ways have creative careers. And Ellen, you sort of started to get into this a little bit, but in terms of the role of your children and how they inform your creativity and how you express that, I am curious because I will just say for myself, I'm a very, I need strong lines and boundaries between things. And it would be confusing to me if sort of what was my identity work life was sort of blending a lot with my home life. It would somehow be stressful to have those spill over. But it sounds like in some ways they feed each other. And I was curious, where's Nikki? We feed each other. There we go. That's her slogan for her business. I didn't know if you could share a little bit about how being a mother informed your creative expression. Did it make you better at the work that you do or see it differently?
I feel like, there's no chance I could have written I've written, 31, 30 or 31 novels. No chance I could have written them without being a mom because of the enormous understanding of sort of love and every other single emotion that humans experience that you go through with your kids, and it's deeper and more painful when it's your when it's with your child, right? And it's just more intense. And so, and I write, beach books, but there are a lot of domestic dramas, and I just have to have, and then there's just the practical stuff. So I don't remember what year Max was in high school. This is just like classic. I have a beautiful Stephen Swift dining room table. I was in St. John I was spending time in St. John, and he had the baseball team over, and they had a huge ass party, beer pong on the Stephen Swift table.
There you go.
And my ex-husband went over to crash the party and took pictures of it, and I was screaming. And the very next year, I just put it in a book.
Yeah.
That exact scene.
Yes.
Put that exact scene.
That's good therapy
in the book.
for you.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that. How are the looms that we can acquire? Are those informed by your children? Probably not. They're sort of a safe place away from the chaos.
First of all, my mother, she actually stapled my brownie badges to my sash. Like, she didn't even, like, my mother
Feels like you could have done more with that.
You think of the looms as being, it is. It's a creative place and people are really talented, but my mom was not one of them. And she, cut corners, and I'm, the product of her. I can't sew, I can't knit, I can't do anything. But, I love the creative, the marketing part of the business. I love coming up with slogans and taglines and putting together the website. And I don't know if my kids necessarily inform that, but I definitely like the feeling of being able to show them what I've been able to do. And I think, as a role model, that's really, I think that's really powerful to say this is, your mom goes to work every day and she packs you lunch and she does your, goes to the grocery store, does your, and I shouldn't say I do their laundry, but I do.
Yes, you do.
And then I can also run a website. So there you go.
Yeah. This is a good tee up to invisible labor, which we wanted to talk about. All the things that we do that we sort of pretend we don't do, and sometimes don't realize ourselves that we're doing. I feel like invisible labor, the mental load, is sort of like a trendy thing. I don't know. Many things are being normalized now in a great way. But I'm curious, in my mind, and maybe I'm totally wrong thinking about this now, but a lot of that invisible labor seems to be highly concentrated when your kids are home in school, maybe school aged. But it sounds like, actually, Ellen, you were just saying your kids are home, and there's a lot of labor. Maybe it's more public. It's visible.
I get up at 5:30, and between 5:30 and 7:30 a.m., I do housework. I empty the dishwasher. I prep. I make Alex's lunch. I prep for meals. I clean up the screened-in porch, which is their hangout space, and I go in there every single morning, and it's the beer bottles, the bong, the wine glasses, the freaking sunflower seeds. And I go in there and I'm like, you're going to get rats and I'm going to laugh. But I go in and I clean it up and I straighten the cushions and I fold the blanket because I cannot live and Max is like, this is just amazing. Every day I come back and it's clean. Yeah, because, that's the household I want to live in. And I keep saying to myself, like I did when they were little, someday they will move out and have their own families. They will not be living with me, and I will, my mudroom is just filled with shoes, hundreds of pairs of sneakers and flip-flops and sandals. And I'm like, someday this mudroom will be nice and neat and empty, and I'm going to appreciate it. I really tell myself that to talk myself off the ledge. They will be gone someday.
But not today.
Probably not next year either. So.
I came home one day, or I woke up one morning, and in the mudroom there are all these shoes, and I had to count the shoes to figure out how many people had slept over. I think there were 12, but and they're all like pig piled. They all sleep on, every corner of the room. And that was the only way I could figure out how many people are in the house.
Yep.
There's a lot of love in the house. That's a beautiful thing, though. You'll miss it when it starts being clean and organized. Then you're going to wish that you had pairs of shoes, right, Ellen?
I don't know.
No. Yeah, I don't. Probably not.
It's a very long phase I'm in. Very long.
The thing is, too, if you have a lot of food in the pantry, you'll always have more kids at your house. And I grew up in a house there was never any food.
So no food in the pantry.
I had no friends. No, but so if you have food, they're going to show up.
Yeah.
But
I
it's
do have a
great.
question. This is funny, and it is funny, but it also is like a serious form of kind of oppression that we are all dealing with. And I think we cope by making it funny, and I think that's important. But I am also curious if you think about why is it frustrating to you that this is your responsibility, or is it actually on some level actually in some ways a joy and a gift, thinking that it's temporary to deal with this? I'm just curious if you think, I mean, I personally kind of cope with it being like, haha, that's funny, I'm going to clean up your shit all the time. But
As you're sobbing.
I do find it really does take up space, emotionally, mentally. I'm curious, like, as you've built big careers, all of you, and they're very active, like how you think about what kind of a toll that took on you along the way, and kind of what do you feel like is undervalued about what you've been delivering? It's a big question.
Well, I'd
Wendy's
like to
been
kill my
thinking about
girls
it.
right about now. The house is such a mess. But
Does it breed resentment, or are you sort of like you're kind of
no. Well, I mean, they're so old now, and I know,
Yeah.
the day after Labor Day, they're both heading back to school, so it's a short-lived, and I love having them home.
Yeah.
No, I mean, for me, I look at it as like they're such good girls. They're doing so well in school. They don't stay out late. They don't
Yeah.
So if I have to clean up, for me, I look at it differently. If I have to clean
Yeah.
up their, their wet towel that's on the couch,
Yes.
I let it go.
Yeah.
And of course, we try to get them to pick up, but nothing gets picked up. But
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, they're doing well with what they're trying to accomplish.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
kind of let that go.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, the boys they're just a disaster. That's my own poor parenting. But that is my own fault. Like, I could
Yeah.
have done a better job years and years ago. That ship has sailed. Okay.
Yeah.
And my daughter is much better. So my daughter likes everything to be neat like me. So I know if she's home, things will be, like when I go on tour, when I go on tour, Shelby's in charge, and the boys hate it because she's way stricter than me. She does not put up with any nonsense. And she makes them, and then she's like sending me Snapchats, and she's at the grocery store with the cart. She's like, I don't know, 17 or 18 years old. She's like, am I a mom? Look at me. I have got my cart at the Stop and Shop.
mom is.
And that, I think, when I've gone on tour, it's been very eye-opening for her. Like, oh my gosh, this is what happened. And then I get home, and the house is a disaster. My
Yeah.
cleaning lady calls. She never calls me. When I'm on tour, she calls. She's like, is everything, are you home? I'm like, no. She
Yeah.
can tell because it's so
Yeah,
bad. But it's also like a type A personality. Some people can live with mess. I cannot. I cannot live with mess
Yeah.
or clutter.
Yes. I'm curious actually on the traveling point, because there are many folks in the audience with younger kids where I feel like the leaving really does feel like you feel guilty for doing that. Being a little bit further out of it, I am curious if you have wisdom to share about, in retrospect, was it terrible that you were away? Like, how do you think about, it feels so real and heavy at the time and impossible, but I'm just curious in retrospect, is there wisdom to share of that?
I
It's
think it was
actually not that
probably
bad.
the worst for me, and I think one of the reasons why I'm so overindulgent with them, and I am overindulgent, make no mistake. Like, I do everything for them and take them everywhere, is because I have remnants of guilt for the 10 years when I was just gone all the time. And I mean, their dad works really hard in the summer too. But it's okay because in those years, their main relationships are with their peers, as it should be. I think if you ask them, like, did you miss your mom growing up? They would be like, no, no, I don't think they would say that. But
She could have traveled more.
they appreciate, I think they appreciate it now, but it's all born out of my own guilt. For sure.
That's interesting.
I think it's good for them. I think it's good I think they become
Yeah.
a little more independent. I don't look at it as such a bad thing.
That's good. Tell me more. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I believe that.
Yeah, no, I always ask them, like, when you're going to go into therapy, what do you think you're going to talk about? What did I do wrong?
Yes.
Yeah, like, I kind of want to know, like, what could I do better? It's still time to, like, correct course or improve.
Yeah.
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 Do they ever give you feedback?
Not real. I mean, I think
Could be
there's-
really beautiful and cool and healing.
Yeah. We do hear a lot about what feel like sacrifices at the time for your work or otherwise, that a lot of people might say in hindsight they weren't sacrifices. It was very much worth it. But I'm curious if you would candidly say these hard times are worth it, or if there's some it's a little more ambiguous.
I mean, I think there's pros and cons to everything, right? And we all want to have full, meaningful lives, you know, and that means sometimes you have to put yourself first, and you know, but I think recognizing that and being honest about it and saying what your own needs are, and having, for me, I'm very transparent with my kids. I mean, when the therapy comment is, you know, it's not a joke. I'm like, I want to know how you're feeling when, you know, there are hard times. So I think I just am really honest with them when I feel vulnerable and I feel like I might have dropped the ball. But that teaches them to see me as a human as well, not just their mom.
Yes.
It's a big, scary lesson to learn as a kid where you're like, oh, my mom doesn't know everything. Hold on a second. But it's also beautiful. We talk about that a lot, of like doing this and like showing your kids that you can try something hard, and it's awesome if it's successful, and it's okay if it fails. And like, that's cool. That's just life.
Totally. But it can be messy sometimes.
And that's
Do we want to ask about the messy, crazy times?
Yeah, absolutely. We love for a good little like giggle talking about like juggling all of these things and having all these responsibilities, things going on in the back of your head. Do you have a oh shit moment of like you're on a Zoom call on a meeting and your boobs out? Or like,
Speaking for a friend.
I don't know. I've never done that. But
we famously had some anecdotes of like
Yes.
basically lactating in front of a prime minister by accident, and it's just kind of I feel like these are the real moments of trying to doing it all, and where it just kind of falls apart. And in a lot of these stories, folks are like, and honestly, at that point, I was just
is
like,
what it is.
Okay.
Well, I mean, if we're talking about breastfeeding, do you remember going? Do you remember my very first book? Max was 6 months old. Wendy and I went over to the Yellow Umbrella in Chatham, and the guy that owns it's a little strange. And I had to say to him, like, I need to pump. Max was not with me. I said, I need desperately to pump my breast milk. The guy was looking at me like, what? But he did. He put me in the office.
Yes.
All right. So embarrassing.
And a bunch of grapes on the vineyard. You remember? You had another
I had
incident.
Dawson in the bucket. I brought Dawson with me. I stuck him. There was a bunch of us signing at a table, and I put Dawson under the table in his bucket seat. He was a little dude. He was probably like 3 or 4 months old. I couldn't leave him at home.
A couple moments.
And I went upstairs and nursed him up there. But I mean, I did all of that.
All of
that
that.
is like, wow, distant.
How are we
distant
doing
past.
this? Yeah.
Distant past.
Good. Any other things? I'm gonna hold an awkward pause in case there's anything really good that you're holding out on me.
I feel like I dropped the ball every time. So,
You guys are so well handled. Good job. I'm impressed.
Well, I have a story.
Yes, Beth.
There we go, Bess.
Well, so
She
Jake
was going to step up.
Jake was crazy when he was little. He was that's why there's 6 years between Jake and Owen. Because I called Children's Hospital and I was like, help. I was like, I'm pregnant and I think the 5-year-old's going to hurt the baby. Like, you know, I mean, not really, but like I wanted to, and they never called me back. So we just kept Jake away from him. But Jake, we were at the Carousel Mall up in Syracuse, New York. And he ran out of the store and ran the entire length of the Carousel Mall. And I had to chase him, and I just wanted to beat the shit out of him when I got him. And he got to he got onto the carousel, and he was hiding behind the horses, and I was like, ugh. You can't really beat your kid in public, but he was just one of those kids. He had that like glint in his eye, like his entire until he was like 7 or 8, and then he kind of grew out of it. But he was one of those kids that would just, yeah. And now he's great.
I love that.
Thank you for your bravery.
Yeah, that was good. Thank you for your share.
Okay, before we shift we do these sort of rapid fire, short answer, closing questions. A quick existential moment. Big question. When I was trying to figure out how to have a real working life, Anne Marie Slaughter came out with this article, professor, lawyer, that by 2012 standards went viral, that was all basically saying women can't have it all. I am curious, as you're sitting here with amazing careers, beautiful families, you live on fucking Nantucket, so like life could be worse. Many might think, hey, they have it all, this is great. I'm curious if you think about having it all. Ellen, you said you just can't do it all. I'm curious about the having it all and how much you think about that and how you might define it all, which I think is where it ultimately comes down to. Wendy, I don't know if you're curious or if anyone has initial thoughts right away, but would love to hear from you.
No, I mean, I never think like, oh, I have it all, ever. I feel like, I'm treading water a lot. But I'm the one thing I can say is I think that I'm glad it's been a labor of love. I love what I do. I love seeing the children every day. And I think, it's a matter of I think it's important if you have something that you're this passionate about, even like I said, even if it's an hour or two a day, it gives you a sense of purpose as the kids get older. And that's the one thing that don't you feel like now with the kids gone, it's like, thank goodness I stuck with it. Like, thank goodness, because they're gone. And then all of a sudden you have all this time. So I don't know if that directly answers your question, but I mean, I never feel, I'm just kind of glad I have always stuck with it.
Yes, that sense of purpose.
Because I've had a lot of ups and downs in my career, but I've never really kind of given up. But I'm glad that, like I said, that I have it now with the girls being so old.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. Yes. I think having a career that really aligns with something that is in some ways part of your personal identity and is fulfilling is key in that, having it all, whenever we ask this question. But so thank you. Yeah. I don't know, Bess or Ellen, if you have thoughts there too.
I don't know. I don't like the phrase "have it all"
Thank
because
you.
Something is always. I mean, when I wake up in the morning, first of all, I'm not a gratitude journal person, but I'm always like, I am so lucky. Like, I love my house. The kids are all healthy. I do think that in my 5:30 to 7:30 when I'm like, taking the sunflowers, sweeping them into my hand and looking under them. I am thinking, I'm so lucky because there are so many people. We in this room are just among probably the most fortunate people in the entire world. And there are moms out there working 3 jobs and moms with kids in jail and all kinds of things going on that we have absolutely no idea about. So from that perspective, we have so much. Yeah. On the daily basis, there's always something. That's keeping me from saying I have it all. It's the dishwasher flooding or whatever. Somebody broke up with somebody. I mean, it's just the whole. And that is part of being, the head of a vibrant, busy household with interesting people. It's never going to feel perfect, right?
Yes. Our 11-year-old son actually said that's what life is. If it was perfect, it wouldn't be life.
Right, exactly.
He's so wise.
Very wise. Very wise.
Bess, I don't know if you have thoughts or how you think about it all.
I mean, for me, like, my mental health is having it all. Like, just, feeling like you can get up and deal with it. I mean, if you don't have that frame of mind, then it's really hard to put yourself forward and your business and with your kids. So for me, having it all is just, keeping a clear head and trying to be grateful.
I love that. We haven't heard that
messy.
yet. Thank you. Yeah. That's great.
Medication helps.
I know that's right.
And alcohol. Yeah. I can't believe we haven't talked about alcohol.
That's true. But that is it all. Sir, that's not full enough. That's not it all. Yeah. Here we go. Okay, we do like these little rapid fire closing questions, if you could indulge. We'll go down the road we'll start with Bess. Sorry, you're in my eye
Bess, you
contact all
really
the time.
are. Yeah.
Or do you want, Wendy, what do you think? Volunteers
start with
tribute?
Wendy. Sure.
Okay. If you could go back and tell your new mom self one thing, what would it be?
Well, I mean, we always say, right, try to appreciate when you're in the thick of it, because it's obviously so hard to appreciate it when they're so young and you're so tired and you're grumpy. But obviously to try to appreciate every moment and take the time off to enjoy, to go watch the soccer game, to go, like, that's the one thing, like, just enjoy, because they do leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, I echo that. I was speaking, I did an event with a bunch of new mom influencers over at the Nantucket Hotel in the spring. And I said to them, embrace it. You feel like you're underwater. Anna, I know you feel like you're underwater. She's got a little dude and Sasha. And I look at them, and who's their biggest fan? Me. I love them so much because I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm going to cry. It goes, and you cannot get it back. Those years, little Sasha, little Otto, like, you can't get it back.
Yeah.
And I would do anything to get it back.
Yeah.
I mean, presumably I'll have grandchildren if they ever get out of the house.
The grandchildren are going to live in the house. You are a mother.
You'll be raising the raising the grandchildren.
Aw.
Yes. Aw. We're making Bess cry now. This is great.
I co-slept with all my children, so I wasn't with them during the day. Oh God, here we go.
So I'm sorry. I knew there was no chance I was going to get this without crying.
So I didn't see them during the day. So, and I wasn't going to put them to bed at 6 o'clock and not see them. So I slept with all my babies, and I just raise your children how you want to, what feels right to you.
really
you
good
know,
Yeah.
I mean,
That's a
it's-
great answer.
Yeah.
It's such a personal journey that do what feels right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
really beautiful.
Fee's doing that right now, and a good job. She's
Co-sleeping.
Yeah.
co-sleeping and doing all the things. This is so nice. I really
Yeah.
appreciate this because I think part of
Yeah.
doing this and having mothers of all different parts of the spectrum of motherhood is really helpful because I think when you're in it, you're so in it and you don't think it'll ever end. And you can't kind of appreciate it. So it's helpful to have people out on the front lines who have already gone through it who can be like, dude, chill.
Yeah.
Sleep with your child.
I love that because everyone has an opinion about everything, and everybody knows actually the best thing.
I mean, it's made my boys really wonderful hugging men. They love to be hugged and
Love that.
Oh. Yeah.
So
Good. All right. Well, if you cried at the last one, this one usually is what gets people. So, okay.
Hold on to your fucking hat. Let's go.
So your kids might listen to this one day. Is there anything you might want to say to them? Nope. Nope. Turn it off.
I mean, find what you're passionate about. Find what fuels you. Find what inspires you, what gives you creativity, what makes you happy. And just try to make that your career
Oh.
if you can. If you can.
Yes.
I did everything to get Barnaby off the ground. I worked at night. I had 3 jobs in college. I did everything to try to fuel that passion. And it was worth it. So I think that's,
Beautiful.
just kind of stick with it.
Yes.
And if you can make it work, make it work.
Yes.
Yeah.
And powerful to be role modeling that for them too.
I mean, the one thing that I always say to Shelby, or have said to her from the beginning, is, and we haven't talked about this at all, is make your own money. Because one of the things about being a working mom is that you have financial power and financial independence, and you can make spending decisions, whatever. But I said to Shelby, you make sure you make your own money, and that you can always support yourself, and don't. And I don't know, is this an old-fashioned idea? I mean, I'm 50, I just turned 56. I feel like maybe our mother's generation, people were getting married, and that's how they were supporting themselves, and that is, definitely something that I have said to Shelby many times, which she has internalized, I'm sure.
Yeah.
don't be an asshole. And be kind, and don't chase the money. Do what makes you happy.
I love that. You guys really kept the tears back. That was good. We got them out early. Okay. I like this.
Sarah's crying.
I know, I'm great. Guys, it's over. Yes, thank you so much for being here, to our amazing panelists. Bess, Ellen, Wendy, you are tremendous people, humans of all sorts, mothers, career leaders. Thank you for being here and sharing this part of your world with this crew and our listeners when we get this episode out. So really, really helpful, and I think powerful that you were able to stand up here and proudly share your stories. So thank you so much for the time. So a round of applause, quick, guys.
So, as I'm sure all of you devoted listeners know, we end all of our episodes talking about where Sarah and I's joys are. So we hope that you guys go to the courtyard, enjoy some drinks, get your flowers, and talk about your joy today.
Insist on your
Yeah.
joy. Yes.
Thank you so much for being
Thank
here.
you for being here and being a part of all of this. Really, really powerful. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoy. Go out. We don't have kids here. I love kids, obviously. Wendy will take the kids.
Yeah, I'll take the kids. We'll do an art craft.
Enjoy the courtyard.
Bring them all
enjoy
over.
drinks and food.
We'll make
It'll be great.
slime.
Yes.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you all.
Really,
This was great.
Thank you.
Oh, sheesh.
I know.
There
I wish
it
that was a fresca, but
Let's pretend it is. I love that we got the Fresca reference in.
Truly.
Okay, wow. So
we did
I can't believe I can't believe we did it.
The woman was too stunned to speak.
I really am. I'm a little speechless by it all happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. For all of our listeners, obviously you just heard a magnificent conversation that was live July 22nd.
Crazy.
And now V and I are kind of 2 weeks out from that and are gathering ourselves to reflect and wanted to intentionally have some space from when it all went down to have thoughtful thoughts, which are our favorite kind. And this is actually like helpful and therapeutic because I'm not someone who ever does anything and then takes a moment to be like, and you did the thing and feel good about that and reflect on like take in, like let it marinate, take in.
That's interesting. Yeah.
It doesn't need to sit in the world of achievements, but like completing the thing that you spent a lot of time hoping to complete. I'm always someone who's like, it's completed. Like now, how could it be better next time? When's the next
I fucked
one?
it up. Everything is ruined. Yeah.
What I did this other thing could have been better. So context was we spent 5 months preparing for this. I think it was like 5 months prior to the event. We were like, maybe we should try to do this because it seems like live is one of many ways to like build this brand. And also using it as one of my favorite words from Google Life was forcing function. So when we were like, let's use July 22nd. I hear a small child.
You're fucking kidding me, though. He's sitting. He can continue. You're fine.
Okay, so then we were like, let's go for it. And so then that kicked off this whole process of like organizing production teams. So like finding a good person for audio, finding a good person for video, helping like getting people on the venue side of things, and working on sponsors and logistically, how do you get shit from off island on island, which became tricky towards the end. And obviously figuring out who our ideal guests should be and how to orchestrate the panel and how large the event should be and things like ticketing and figuring out should we charge or should we not charge for the event. So there were just so many key learnings that would not have happened had we not forced ourselves to do this thing. So highly recommend a forcing function out in the world if you're trying to figure out how to do stuff. Sign up for something that you can't punt on.
Yes. Just say yes.
Yes. So there was a lot that went like behind the scenes with any major event, major or minor. Like there's a lot that goes on and it doesn't happen overnight. And it was a massive team effort, like across all of our partners, Faraway, Sister Ship, our sponsors, like The Vault, our photographers. Rebecca Love is amazing. Remy was amazing. Little Saints was amazing. And Doan was amazing. They dressed us. Our dresses were beautiful. Flowers were fantastic with Marigold and Amy Guidi, who's a gift. And we had Roller Rabbit, who dropped in some amazing stuff in our giveaway bag. So yeah, massive team event or massive team effort. And then on top of that, obviously, V carried a lot of shit and put together beautiful signage that I want needs more time.
Signs. We spent 5 months planning the event, but 32 years making the signs.
100%. Yes.
There were so many iterations.
Yes. Signage of all variations, awesome stickers. We also learned through the signage experience that a key element of our logo branding is a quote splash of color, like a highlighter, like true pure highlighter element, which sounds I don't know, very 80s, whatever. Turns out it's really fucking hard to print neon as neon,
which
like it is a rarity.
Now I'm like, I've seen neon in the wild, so I'm confused. How did y'all get that?
Yeah,
but now we know.
If you're listening and you know how to print, not like
not screen
printing, but
like document printing.
Correct. Yes. We need neon because I don't want to get rid of our neon. So then there was a minor heart attack by me because I have issues about seeing the signage, which was perfect in every possible way except the highlight wasn't the highlight. It was a muted highlighter, which we worked through.
Nevertheless, she persisted.
One would know.
No one said anything.
I am telling everyone.
Hey, so behind the scenes things that happened that you didn't know about.
Yeah,
the color wrong.
Color wasn't quite right. Okay, so then signage was amazing. Also, similar vein, Lauren meaning really
The
LB,
best.
who
LB.
heads up our marketing, and as well as is the most craftiest of. Well, I don't know. I feel like you and LB can like
Well,
you
fight.
can,
Yeah.
battle it out, but incredibly crafty, and she hand printed with what do I
The
call it?
Cricut.
The bat. We had giveaway bags that were tote
Insane.
bags. They were true far away tote bags, which are beautiful, like and very and useful and functional.
I've been
and
using
whatever.
mine every day since.
Yes. And then on the back, we were like, let's put the Mother's logo there and Sister Ship's logo. And the best way to do that was by hand. So
Turns
LB did
out.
50 of these, printing them out, and which was truly a labor of love.
Or
I
hate.
don't know if she would say it was love. Labor of hate.
Yeah. It was truly a labor.
So she was doing that on her dining room table for like 2 days straight, just making this shit happen. And then there was this question of like, well, how do we get the bags to the island? Which is harder than it seems. And what's the most reliable way to do that? So anyways, these are more behind the scenes things that anyone needs to know. But more to say,
Yeah, there was
the
just a lot.
classic, like the duck above the water who looks so serene. And then underneath it's like all of this like frantic tumbling.
I like that.
So
Yes.
yeah. And then like the day, I would say leading up to it, V, how did you feel? I felt like kind of existential anxiety that wouldn't end until it was over. But I'm curious how you were emotionally leading up to the day.
I think I just knew that, like, I don't know, people had purchased tickets, so we didn't have to convince them to be there. So I knew, like, if people were showing up, I know Nantucket's not like the easiest place to get to logistically. Like, you have to take a boat, whatever. So I'm like, people want to be here, so I'm just excited. I'm just happy to be here. And I like figured and just knew it was going to be great. And like, I felt confident that, I don't know, these women were really cool and that like, we won't fall short on words or conversation. I don't know. I just felt like, I don't love public speaking. So I hated that for us, for me, whatever.
You did a wonderful job, but it is different than
it's
what we're doing
different.
now.
Yeah. Something we talked about and like have spoken about with guests too is when we're doing this through the camera or through our laptops, computers, whatever, like you have this, I don't know, you almost feel like protected or guarded of like, it feels safe to say things because it's like, oh, I'm just speaking. I know I'm speaking to a person and then everyone who's listening, but it doesn't feel like it when you're just sitting in your own, the comfort of your own space and stuff. So that was
totally
different, but I don't know. I was just really excited.
Yeah. Me too. Actually, I think the breakthrough for me was because, and we talked about it even on like podcast episode leading up to it, is that I just felt like I felt this cloud something hanging over me until it was over. And until this episode is out, honestly, I won't feel like it's gone or it's done. But I definitely, a few days before, I made a point to like sit down and actually painfully like visualize every element of that day, like walk through in my brain, like, okay, we arrive at noon and we set up the chairs and all the bags and who's there. And then we had our pre-meet, like we had call time with our guests. And then here's what it's going to feel like to actually like get the audience to come sit. And then here's what the opening, going through the script, like in my, like painfully, it was my, I guess some version of meditation. And it's really, if you actually, and the last time I've done that was for sports, for like big games, I would do that. And then I'd also do it for like big presentations at work. And it really, honestly, there's so many times where your brain wants you to stop and is like, you can opt out. But if you force yourself through, and if you also allow yourself to imagine the things that go wrong, and then you can also confront that, but then also you can reimagine it going right.
That's the important step.
Yes.
Don't forget to spend also time on how you can
imagine it. That's
realign
true.
the
Imagine
wheels.
it going exceptionally well. There are like famous studies in athletics about people visualizing free throws in basketball. Like basically the amount of improvement, someone should fact check this, but essentially what I took away from
Monica
what I read probably 15 years ago. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Monica, where are you? Was if you took people that spent an hour shooting free throws and that, which by the way, V, these are things that when you
free what?
game of basketball and
they just give it to you. They're free throws. So it's like anyone can throw like for free.
You're fouled while shooting, and then you get a chance to shoot that's sort of like an easier-ish
and there's
shot
the
from
backside, outside backside. Wait, outside back. Is it outside back?
LV was my outside back. Right back, left back, doesn't have a left foot.
I don't
like,
fucking know.
It was always everywhere. Anyway. So So the people that actually practiced this, like shooting free throws for a long period of time, if the people that sat there, another group of people just sat there and visualized doing it, that there was, I want to say it was equal level of improvement.
That's wild.
Yes. So like the visualization really helps. And I think actually I will say that for me, when the day came, I felt like I'd done it already.
Totally.
Which allowed me to move through the experience a little less reactive to stuff, because it was like, I've seen this before. And I had seen myself do it okay. So that was helpful. That said, I was trying very hard to like stay in my body. I was trying to use this idea of like savoring the experience. That
It was
worked
very
so hard
much
for.
wedding vibes. Like
Yeah,
all
it
this
did
work
give wedding
going up
vibes.
to it.
Yeah.
People are here to
Because-
see you, and it's so short lived, but then you're like, how is it over already? And also,
know.
there's
Yeah. And so many amazing people came. Like that was,
yeah.
I feel like I need to write so many thank you
Thank you
cards.
notes. Yeah.
But friends and family showed up, and strangers off the street came in
Yes.
too. Like it was full. It was beyond, we sold out. And I don't know, it was just so meaningful for people. I mean, every category of attendee held deep meaning.
Yes.
Whether you were someone who was like, I believed in this idea before you started it and wanted you to try it.
Yep.
Or you were someone who we were trying it and you were like, I believe that you should keep going with it.
Yep.
Or you're a friend of a friend, or you saw a sign on the street, or you found us on Instagram and like purchased a ticket. Like each of those are so like meaningfully fill our cup and make us feel seen and validated and supported and believed in. And which is so key. We're like 5 months into doing this thing. And that's like what we need to keep going. So that meant so much, and appreciate everyone that hung out afterwards. We had the
that was
event,
so
and
fun.
then the great panel. And then we hung in the courtyard, and booze it up as best we could. But classically, like in a wedding fashion, it was like the post wedding drinks, like I don't know, the bride, groom, whatever, like you tend to somehow not drink
see them
or eat or whatever. So I feel like I didn't get to see everybody or drink as much as I wanted to.
100%.
But yeah, I feel like it blows my mind that we were able to pull that off. And secret is out. That was our first time. And many people were like, that was your first time doing this?
Secret is out.
Yeah. Because it is different.
It's so
Managing 3 people instead of 1 guest is different. Doing it live in front of an audience is very different.
There's a lot of stuff we learned.
And figuring out how to create a safe, psychologically safe space for guests to feel like they can share what they want to be able to share and kind of go be maybe more honest than they otherwise would be. Figuring out how to do that while there's like, I don't know, 60 people in front of them being
100 eyes
about that drama. So that's hard. And thank you to our guests. I mean, on many levels, but thank you to our guests for like sort of being up for that.
Totally.
That's
a big
lot to ask. And I appreciate they did that in the spirit of transparency is really helpful. And they have nothing to be hiding from. I think they have all built incredible careers and lives and families with tremendous integrity. They just had a lot of wisdom. We were joking with one of the guests after the fact where we were like, we need to do like the Mothers After Dark.
Yes.
Where we like really get into what happened.
The juice.
And it's behind a paywall.
Give me $50.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was trying to think some of the other things just in terms of what has stuck with me from the conversation. I think a few things that were also like striking to me were, I mean, this was a group of mothers who their kids are now kind of, let's say, give or take 20-ish. It was helpful to hear from mothers at that stage. They all teared up thinking about the young phase and how when the kids are so little, as hard as it is, you know, there was definitely ongoing sort of, well, I would say for them at that stage, they looked back at the baby stage that like you're dealing with and I am dealing with it a little bit. That can be endlessly like beautiful, but frustrating. To hear them think back and be like, oh, I miss that stage. I miss when they were like that. Like it goes by so quickly. It's just like useful to hear. And yet they made choices that they had to make because they had to be working and wanted to be working, was they couldn't be there all the time anyway. And so I think there's just this, we've talked about this in other interviews, but highlighting this like sort of painful, beautiful tension of parenting and parenthood, which is, and working parenthood in particular, which is like, it's incredibly hard. It's incredibly wonderful. You want to be there all the time, but in the moment you probably don't want to be there all the time. But when it's over, you're like, I want it to have lasted longer. Like there's sort of, I don't know, the temporariness of life is like happening right in front of you when you're raising a kid.
Yeah.
And how to like be grateful and
You know what? He's about to crawl out and
go,
fall and bonk his head.
Go save him. Bye. Assume the position. This feels like a good moment to acknowledge what also happened during the event. V's partner was there wonderfully caring for the baby.
Yes.
And we decided, well, I don't know how we decided, but ended up being in the venue in the background with baby sleeping. Baby occasionally cooed, which was I actually wonder if it was audible to anybody, but it was and I think in the recording it probably won't even show up at all.
Probably not. Yeah.
Listeners, keep us honest. But in the room in the live experience, it was true to the show thus far, which was that there was one baby in particular that was very proud of his mom.
I know. A few people came up and were like, "Oh, it's just like the podcast," and I was like, "That's like really sweet that people noticed it." So we appreciate that.
Of course.
Anyways, continue. So we were talking about
So I was just noting how that this like endless tension of working motherhood and motherhood, maybe regardless of what your employment status is, of the temporary experience every stage, and yet which you're so grateful. At least I will speak for myself. I'm happy for growth, and then also you get moved through it, and then you're like, wow, that'll never happen again.
Yes.
It'll never be that way again.
Yes.
So you're just kind of confronting the temporariness of life all the time.
Always.
All the time.
I know. And it's so funny. It's such a cliche, but all the cliches that everyone says are true of like, it goes by so fast and so slow. You're going to miss it when they're older. You're going to miss those younger years. Like everyone says all these things, but then when you're actually in it, you're like, huh, regardless of like who you are, where you're at, what sort of help you have, what help you don't have, whatever, there's these unifying, like beautiful things where it's just like, I don't know. I think that's a really beautiful, cool thing that we're all just like in the thick of it, regardless of where you're at.
And that was the question that brought everyone basically to tears was this, our usual, like, what's something you would tell your new mom self? And all of them got teary eyed. Wendy stayed strong. But yeah, just reflecting back. So I don't know. I think that was one of the main things I'm proud of for our show is just the range of ages that we get to learn from. And so important to hear kind of folks on the quote front lines who are further ahead of us on this. And then the other idea of how for all of them, there's just this remarkable resilience, always find a way to juggle it all. I mean, Ellen talked about at nap time, she'd be writing longhand her books and basically saying, and I want, at least in this session, she was like, that's why I write longhand, which is, I also just blows my mind to write a long book by hand.
A book by hand.
Is incredible. And I also, even as she was saying that, I think I even said it where I was like, you know, she was describing it as like, this is what I did. And this is what it was. And without any tone of, I don't know, none of them
like
are looking for pity or empathy, but just being like, it's just what it was without any sense of sort of, I don't know, rage behind it or something, or like it should have been different. I think maybe that's the tone. And yet I think, I mean, I did point out to them, I was like, that's sort of a funny story and some like a remarkable funny story, but also these are the things that typically the mother is doing. And I mean, I don't know, Stephen King, was he like writing his books in the crib, like with his children? I think he has children.
Shout out,
but also
Stevie.
Love your work.
In case you're,
but I don't know. I think it's just these things that we do, and sometimes don't even acknowledge to ourselves that it's extra relative to what, in this case, like a father figure is doing, or a person without kids is doing. And I just want us to like get that acknowledgement and credit. Like we should be paid, instead of getting paid whatever 70 cents on the dollar, we should be getting paid like
More.
$1.20 on every dollar.
100%.
Because we're doing
100%.
it. We're always operating 120%. To write, like, I know we had a beautiful picture of UV in the crib in prep for the set before the event, where you were like finagling last signage edits, and that was you in the crib, literally with your baby, with your laptop open, like doing this all at the same time. I mean, right now you have a baby on your lap who's like yanking the mic out of your face,
Yanking my nipple. Be so for real. Just be honest.
Now this episode's gonna go viral. So anyway, I think that's just incredible. And there was also a good friend of mine and early supporter of this whole thing. She texted me recently, and she was like, one of the things that stuck with me from the event was the saying that we don't do lunch. And within that is all of this idea of kind of where I don't know, self-sacrifice is like an easy way to answer it, but it's just the priority, where our needs fall relative to everything else as a mother, as a working mother. And that the things that are kind of I don't know, nourishing in different ways, it moves into very much kind of like basic necessities are prioritized, like and first and foremost for the others. I mean, it's your classic, like, do you put the oxygen mask on your face first, or like everywhere else? And definitely the instinct is to do it for everyone else. But even the airlines tell you to do your own mask first. So yeah, I don't know. It's just the resilience, the power, the strength, the brilliance of these women. Like, these are all big businesses. And also to build them on an island is incredibly difficult. As we experienced just trying to do this event on an island, there are so many, the tax limiting, just trying to execute anything within the context of an island is tricky. So yeah, I feel like anything still like lingering in your brain, V, about what we heard?
I think that in many of our conversations with a lot of guests, we talk about like the importance of, everyone talks about mental health, but for the first time in a response to, we usually get a lot of people kind of rejecting the idea of having it all and what does that mean and whatever. And everyone's like, ooh, no, boo, the expectation, but men can, whatever. And Bess said, yes, I'm going to botch her response, but something along the lines of like, yes, because I had my mental health.
Correct.
And
having
I was just
it all
like,
is having your mental health like in a good place.
And I was like, holy shit, absolutely. Like what an easy, and she said it just so matter of factly, like, like it wasn't like that. It was this like profound discovery for her. It was like, of course, I had my mental health. And I thought that was like so beautiful and simple and just like, I don't know, it's something that resonated with me. And I still have been thinking about like where comes up in conversations with new mom friends that I have and whatever, of like, I have my like health and sanity right now, and like things are hard and whatever, but like I feel like I can handle it because I'm in a good mental place. Like, not taking that for granted.
For sure.
I don't know. I thought that was like such a beautiful, I wish we had more time to expand on that and like what that meant for her and how she got there and like what that, like, I don't know. How did she navigate that in the tough times, and how did she maintain her mental health? What did she do to prioritize it? You know, we've talked with people about like the third thing. So is it your third thing, or is it like medication, you had support, or is it you had Zoloft? Whatever. I just think that was like a really cool thing that I would love to talk to more people about.
I know. This would be great for the Mothers After Dark.
100%.
So
that was cool.
Awesome. That, speaking of that, actually, that's a nice segue too. I did also want to share for anyone out there that might, I don't know, have had this experience but didn't want to talk about it. The day after the event, I just like tanked. I went from, feeling like pretty good and proud of all of us for like pulling that off and it going so seamlessly. And then, the event was a Tuesday. Wednesday, I needed to just like be alone in a closet. I don't know, like scrolling on my phone, like doing nothing, making no decisions, not having to engage with anybody, not having to show up to anybody in any way, because I think I am an extroverted introvert or whatever it's called. Like my cup was like, I'd been extroverted for, at that point, various things have been leading up to it, but like many days in a row, which I just cannot do. Jason can pull that off, and I don't know how he does it. He has like another gear. Anyway, so I was just like at the end. And then within the context of that, I was also feeling just so like angst. I kept describing it as like a vulnerability hangover, which is I'm stealing from Brene Brown, but it reminded me a lot of which is an experience that I should have more of. But if you were like at a wedding, like on a Saturday, and you just like tore it up on the dance floor, like, and in that context, it was amazing. Everyone was like, wow. And you were doing like somersaults and like dancing on the bar, and you were like doing a shot, like you were just in it like crazy. And it seemed like everyone was having a great time at the time.
This is amazing.
And then you wake up the next day and you're like, what? Shit. Like, was that me? Did I do that? Was that okay? Like that's how I felt. Cause it did feel, and also I did also have this conversation with someone else going into the event, which is like, which is more nerve wracking? Doing something publicly, doing this, a host moderating a panel discussion in front of an audience of people that you know, like friends and family, or doing that in front of a room of strangers. And I would for sure answer much more nerve-wracking to do that in front of like any friends and family.
I agree.
In front of strangers is fine. So I think that was also, it was me showing up as a version of me, but a sort of
a different one
than she normally would version of me. And so
Cue Robin.
I just need to sort of hide. I don't know.
Yeah.
And to make it even worse / more amusing, who did I turn to? Chat GPT.
Mama's therapist over here.
Who has become, I have a real therapist, so don't be too alarmed. So I gut check what I'm getting off the internet, but was remarkably helpful. I have had mixed experiences, and everyone's sort of heard my feelings about AI, but it's obviously here and it's coming. I've found it was weirdly useful for the dump of like, here's what just went on, here's how I'm feeling about it, I'm trying to like, can you explain myself to me? And it scoured the internet, and apparently a lot of people have talked about this concept of like the vulnerability hangover, the crash after a big event. I'm sure rock stars have the Beyonce the day after a concert, I'm sure is also just kidding. She's probably
rock stars like us
again.
She's like, shut up, bitch.
I know. So anyways, everyone should have a real therapist, but if you lack that, I think there was something useful about just having it about like having the feeling, not be like, you're alone, there's something wrong with you that you're feeling this way.
No.
But instead being like, here's what's going on, most likely, according to all the data points across the internet. And here's why. And it's normal. And here's some like practical things to do, which is like go sit in a closet by yourself, get some good sleep, and wake up tomorrow and you'll feel better.
In a lot of ways, though, you have curated does your ChatGPT have a name?
No, but I've started to name my various chats. This is just called therapist.
So your therapist,
can you name it?
I guess I just mean like in your head. Like, do you
in
refer
my
to
head?
like, I don't know, but you have curated your responses are very much that of like, it's kind of just you talking to you. Like, it is kind of what you would just say to like me or your kids or whatever. Like, it's not like they're saying anything that profound. Like, maybe it feels like it because in that moment you're not able to see those things yourself, but it is very like you.
Aww.
So that's a good thing.
I'm going to choose to hear that as a compliment.
It is. No, it is. I think it's like you are hearing the things that you already know to be true.
Yeah.
But you just can't see them in that moment. Like, you're like, I know that this is normal and I'm feeling this way.
Yeah.
But why can I not see why? And then it tells you why. And you're like, I know that. Like, it's
I'll
good.
Even say that for me, I think I know why.
Yeah.
But it's helpful to have
someone else.
And in some way, there's something crazy about it being, this is a bot that like is not married to me, doesn't know me, like
no obligation
on,
or
like, many levels, has no reason to like just try to make me feel better, I guess. And like no reason to just sort of tell me what I need to hear. There's something about it being quote unquote objective assessment is my brain like all the ways that my brain finds excuses to like not hear a compliment. You know what I mean? This is helpful to hear. It's like, oh, it's a little more, God, I don't want a therapist to hear this, but there's a way that it feels fact-based.
No, that makes sense.
As opposed to emotionally driven, which both are useful.
Well,
And I
because
don't-
it's still like with a person, you're like, I know you say you don't have to say that, but like you kind of do because I'm paying you, like whatever.
Yeah.
But when it's a non-biased compute, like whatever, there's something that feels like it very much is just like going to tell you the truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and also I hear it as this is truth of a certain kind of truth. Like but it's fast. It's like a wild slippery slope between that and the closest to me was that movie, Her, I think is what it was called, with Scarlett Johansson, who fell in love with the essentially ChatGPT of the time, where you can see how, especially when you're in a state of vulnerability, ChatGPT spoke very kindly to me and made me feel understood.
Yes.
And also in your classic, which is not good, but in our world, we're so afraid of confrontation and like dealing with, it's so much easier to put that in a chat window than to like have an in-person dialogue. So it sort of allows you to, I don't know, it's God. I mean, I think tech is such a tricky, and is it an enabler? Is it ruining everything? Does it make life easier in a way that's useful, or easier in a way that's like actually at a higher level tragic? And I don't know. So anyways, but in that moment, it was there for me.
I love that for you.
So yeah, I'm not a therapist, nor is ChatGPT, but play around with it. Fuck around and find out. Maybe that's what I should call my therapist chat on ChatGPT. It's my FAFO.
FAFO. I was going to say, what's the FAFO? I love it.
So yeah. Well, I mean,
Yay.
You're a miracle, V. I can't believe we did it.
We did it. Thank you to everyone who showed up, including ourselves, for showing up for ourselves.
Yeah.
It was really cool to see like different groups of people and who came and people who went out of their way to show up on a Tuesday.
Totally. Tuesday afternoon for
via boat.
I know.
For many
boat,
people.
plane, wherever you, totally.
Yeah.
And really, really, it means so much. Like our sponsors came through huge for an early stage brand, and they believe in the concept and want to be a part of the concept. So
it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I really, really, really appreciate all the Faraway, Sister Ship crew, Katie Jetter and the Vault. Little Saints was awesome. Remy was great. Again, just to reiterate, go buy a shark sweater.
Yes.
Very well timed with the Jaws 50th
50th.
anniversary.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Our photographer, Rebecca Love, was
Love
magnificent.
Rebecca
again,
Love.
Yeah. Robin Tucker doing our audio and video. So if you hear anything or see anything you don't like, I'll provide their email addresses.
Shout out. Yeah. No.
But no, everything sounded magnificent. Our audio dude was casually affiliated with a small band you may have heard of called Florence and the Machine, which had nothing to do with us deciding to hire him.
Maybe we're famous now. Do you think Florence listens to us? Is she a mother? Girl, you don't have to be a mother to listen to us.
Yeah, exactly. I hear she has anxiety, or one of my favorite songs about her is
same.
About grappling with anxiety. So maybe she should hang out with ChatGPT and see what happens.
Love. Say, hey, Floor. Hey, Flo. I know someone for you. Love it.
But yeah. And then again, Flowers were such a perfect hit. Marigold.
They were
Baby
so
Greedy,
beautiful. Yes.
Glorious. So delicate and perfect.
So pretty.
Roller Rabbit, you are a cult following. I don't know. Is that what you call it? You're not a cult. Roller Rabbit,
You have, like, cult following.
A phenomenon.
Yeah. A phenomenon. Phenomenon.
Doan, we looked nice.
We did.
Yes. Those are beautiful dresses. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
That showed up and supported in all the ways. And drum roll, maybe we'll do it again. Maybe not on an island.
Shout out
maybe in a
if
more accessible
You have a
location.
place or a location you want us to do our next live event.
Yes.
Do you have a brewery? Do you have a store? Do you have a house with a cool backyard? Do you want us to come to you? Let us know. You plan it. We'll show up.
Awkward pause. Yes. And last but top on the list, Bess Clarke, Elin Hilderbrand, Wendy Rouillard, absolute rock stars. Thank you, thank you, thank you for everything you've done in your lives. You've built beautiful, amazing humans and businesses, and we're so honored to share space with you. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll catch you after dark.
Thank you so much for joining us. Please remember to like and subscribe so you don't miss an episode and we can reach even more rock stars like you. The Mothers is a production of Backline Media, shining a light on those who carry the team.